Scotland. Chuck Collins from San Francisco. It is an early morning in San Francisco here.
It is.
Thank you everyone for joining in. We'll get started in a few minutes. Just give people some time. We are very excited that all of you are here today. And all right, so yes, if you're just joining us, go ahead and go and chat your location and your name from Malaysia, Myanmar. We're so happy to see all of you today. Thank you so much for joining. We have a great workshop planned for you today, and so we will get started with that in just about a minute, and I will turn it over to Wes.
Perfect. I can't wait to get started.
How are you doing today, everybody on screen? Good?
So good.
Yeah.
Chico, it's good to see you today, man.
Thank you. Good to see you too, finally. It's always interesting when you're emailing people and then, oh, I get to see your face. You know, you kind of get to like, oh, this is what you look like. Same thing with masks. When you're meeting people with a mask on, you're like, I don't really know what your face looks like.
Shaquille, I've been getting my hair done for the year and a half in quarantine, and we were allowed to take our mask off to get it done the other day, and the lady goes, "Oh, I didn't know that's what you fully look like." You know,
yes. I've also gotten I walked into a site the other day and someone said, "Oh my God, how are you?" And I was like, I have no idea who you are. And she thought I was someone completely different because my mask was on. I was like, yeah, that's not who I am.
You're like, oh, we're not relatives, actually.
Exactly. All right, Wes, the time is yours. We can go ahead and get started. I think this is a good point.
Amazing. Well,
if you need me, I'll be in the background.
Awesome.
Very cool, Shaquille. Well, so good to be with everybody today. You're with us here. We're 1824, the Universal Music Group, and 24, we're UMG's creative solutions team. Like, we focus on the connection of artists and musicians directly to fans. So we think about storytelling and experiences all day. And the way we do things, it's content creation, it's ideation, it's PR, creative partnerships, and our experiences in digital marketing. So we've got a lot of that. That's what we're thinking about all day long. I'm the senior culture marketing manager. We've got Asia Howard. She's our senior manager.
Hi, everybody.
What's up? We got our senior director, Rebecca Espinoza, with us.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
And we have our star marketing rep, Kathy Tra.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Well, everybody, we're going to go into a lot about what we do. We cover a lot of ground. This department is so busy. We do a lot of things. But I'm going to kick it off with a video. I think it'll help illustrate the myriad of things we've got going on. So I'll go ahead and share that video up with you all.
In my 21 years, almost 31 years.
Oh, here, I'll stop that one and I'll go.
That video just gets me every time.
Woo.
Seriously, like tears.
Oh, it hits. And everybody, like everything in the video, those are things that we shot, we created, and our creators. People like Kathy actually did the voiceover, did the editing, and we're going to just get into each and every one of those things, how we are contributing to the creative economy across the globe through music video directors, through publicists, through so many skill sets. And Rebe, like, I may kick it to you right now. Do you want to kind of do like an intro and an overview of the team and get into today?
And who we are and how we do things. Oh my goodness, thank you, Wes. So 1824, if it wasn't obvious already, the name of our division represents the demographic that we serve and the demographic that we have as employees, that real 18 to 24 demographic. Everyone talks about the demo. Everybody wants to tap into the demo, from fashion to brands to your local juice bar, whatever it is. So we want to hyper target on that as it pertains to music and find the different access points. So we are a 14-person management team within Universal Music Group, and we have about 80 part-time people across the country that help us carry out any kind of campaign. We work with labels and artists on a regular basis, constantly working with artist managers, brand partners, journalists, influencers, creators, and even some of our most amazing organizations that we've built relationships with, from mental health, even most recently, in May, we kicked off a mental health series called the Semicolon Sessions, and thinking about just different ways that we can access the parts of an artist that they want to storytell. So as Wes was mentioned earlier, through experiences and storytelling, A&R, all of that kind of comes together, and how us four particularly all work together on a regular basis. Everything comes back to the music. It's all about the vision of the artist. Asia and I are constantly sitting in meetings with an artist, sitting down, what do you want? What do you like? Wes is taking meetings with different press people and social creators and artists. And we're all based all across the country, but we're serving what we know as music, which is global. So we might be working with a press outlet in LA or press outlet in the UK. We might be working with an artist across the continent, coming out of South Africa or Nigeria, or we might be working with a band out of Australia. It all just comes back to the music. So us on a regular basis, the dynamic of our team, we know that music reaches past so many different, across the different countries, but definitely across the nation. That 18 to 24 demo, most of them on our team, the part-time staff, are in college or university. And I think that's an important thing to bring up, only because we like to provide an opportunity while people are still in school. So if you're looking for like that one thing that's like, I just want an outlet, I want to create, I want to, kind of do some trial and error, trial and fail sometimes. We like to be the mentors that really help bring out an artist's vision through that 18 to 24 lens. So yeah, 1824, one of my favorite places to be every single day with these amazing people, and working some of your favorite artists. UMG, if you guys aren't familiar, is one of the largest, if not the largest, music company in the world, and especially in any respective country. And it's a lot of artists. What we do on a regular basis is serve the artists that just got signed, the people that are just getting their career started. They came in with 10, 15 songs and said, I just got a deal. Let's figure out how to find me some fans. And so we're sitting down trying to figure out how to draw that connection and bring it ultimately to fans like you guys who are tuning in. So really trying to stimulate the economy in different ways. But I think one of our biggest strengths is our ability to serve and be from a different lens of diversity. And I don't mean diversity just across race and color, but I mean diversity in interests, in location, in genre. How do we, bring in identity, and how do we find those access points? I really would love, Asia, if you could tap in here with me, only because I know we're serving artists from all over the world. We have a team that reflects that. In my opinion, we have people who specialize across the board, from content. We have people who specialize in animation. We have people who know and love everything about a particular food. Maybe it's from a particular country, or maybe it's a particular style. But then our job is to go and find those access points for artists to tap into all across the country, and maybe even digitally, because thanks to the pandemic, a positive, we get to connect even in this virtual space in a very unique way and find those points on a regular basis, or, you know, at any given point we can tune in together. But we have so many like subcultures, makeup. Kathy's one of our favorite people, gaming, anime, Asia. Can you give some examples of what we've been able to do with artists? Because I think that will help paint the picture a little bit.
Sure, I would love to. Like Rebecca said, there are so many subcultures that we love to tap into, in addition to just the global cultures across the board. For example, we have an artist signed to UMG. Her name is Tovlo, and she's a gamer. She's super huge into the gaming world. And I remember at the very beginning of the global pandemic, Animal Crossing was a very, very big game that kind of hit the airwaves. Everyone was trying to buy a Nintendo Switch. The game was sold out. It was selling on platforms for, you know, well over retail. And we actually tapped into Tovlo's love of Animal Crossing and Nintendo Switch, and the fact that it was kind of trending at the moment. And we did a virtual concert where we created a Animal Crossing character for Tovlo. We actually got fans to virtually enter into the concert, and she did a DJ set. We also did some work with Billie Eilish and Animal Crossing as well. But yeah, just some other things, like Rebecca said, tapping into food. If there's an artist who comes to town and they really like ramen or they really like tacos, our team of reps will tap into the best taco places, the best ramen places, and actually take our artists there, get content around that. If an artist has a show later in the night, but they're free during the day, we're definitely going to take them around to, you know, tap into what they're interested in. If they like thrift shopping, we're going to take them thrifting and do things like that. We've even worked with several artists to create custom sneakers, artists who are into streetwear and sneaker culture. We've worked with them to create custom sneakers in which we have our reps design the pair of sneakers and actually execute the design, and we send that pair to the artist. And, you know, we just do cool things like that. And Kathy on our team actually does a really, really cool thing on our social media platform, which I believe Wes dropped our Instagram in the chat, so be sure to check it out. Something trending on Instagram, makeup tutorials. There's a huge makeup tutorial world, and Kathy is one of our excellent makeup tutorials. So Kathy, I'm going to let you get into the tutorials that you do and how you go into, you know, connecting the tutorials to the artists that we have under UMG.
Yeah, so I kind of started with like this idea. I love makeup and I wanted to be able to incorporate that into the job somehow. So I came up with the idea to make album inspired makeup. So just taking an album cover and using that as inspo, getting the colors, making that art onto my face, on my eyes, and, you know, being able to create that and kind of have a template, and now just plugging it in. And then also moving now with TikTok, you know, makeup transitions are all over the platform. You see it everywhere with all types of songs. So when we come up with ideas, you know, bringing in that makeup transition trend is always a good one, especially if it has a nice little beat drop. So doing that, getting to kind of combine both my love for music and makeup has been fun for me. And it also just give like an idea of different ways you can a new like view music and being able to show that creativity elsewhere. And I think with that, we've been able to, like how Asia said, just bringing those different interests as reps. And like we have so many different reps who are really into gaming, and, you know, being able to work more on Discord, whereas maybe someone else doesn't know as much, or bringing it, like being able to balance each other out. And there's always someone on the team who has the most knowledge about whatever we have to do. And I think that's really great. And as the reps, seeing how the team has gotten so close and seeing each other like support those interests and just always hyping each other up. It's really like a family. And I don't know, it's a very amazing environment to be for, not just music, being able to connect on other levels as well.
And Kathy, that's so key. Like, that's why we hired you. It wasn't just because like, oh, Kathy can do marketing. It's because Kathy has a viewpoint. Kathy has, and Kathy's an expert in a lot of different things. So yeah, it's like an expert on the makeup stuff. It's an expert on pop music. Like all of those things come together, and it makes us a healthy team because our artists are interested in those things. Like I'm a nerd, y'all. Like I'm into comics. Like I'm working on like a comic book thing. Like how can I bring artists with comics together? How can I love craft beer. So I've brought artists together, you know, through their own craft beer. We've done, again, like Asia mentioned, we did Tovlo in Animal Crossing. And I'll actually like share just to illustrate what that even looked like. I've got this this video, so you can just see how we brought some fans together. It's connecting those artists to fans in the 1824 demo once again.
Say that even Animal Crossing made me miss being a place with a DJ, like in real life.
It did me too, but it scratched that itch a little bit. It was good.
This is a great example of something that, like, hey, we want to figure this out, and our team came together and literally said, let's build out a whole, island for her, and let's figure out what that looks like. Well, who can we invite? What kind of clothes can they wear? Is there a shop? Even for Billie Eilish, we were able to develop different clothing pieces that the people could buy an outfit, or the different wallpaper. It could be Billie Eilish wallpaper all over your Animal Crossing room, and it could be, just a different way for fans to interact with the artist while hearing the music.
Yeah, and it took having reps who knew, and like we hired people we didn't know that they were gonna be able to implement this 2 years ago when we hired them, but we just had faith in the process and faith in people's creativity, particularly young people's creativity, and we work every day to mentor that, to develop that. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Wes, I think that speaks a lot to our hiring process and to how we train and mentor our reps. Here at 1824, not only do you have to have just an interest in music to be on our team, you have to have knowledge, expansive knowledge of many things, like we said, like makeup, like all of the interests that you have. But as we hiring internally, we like to listed on our website. We have hiring resources on our Instagram. If you're interested in our program, feel free to reach out on Instagram. Our vetting process is, Kathy, I don't know, is it intense? I don't think so. I think we do a really good job at vetting reps because we want to make sure that we have the right rep for the right position. We have a lot of specialized roles on our team. We have creators who create content. We have creators who create social media content. We have people who are specific for creator partnerships content and those types of relationships. We have marketing reps. We have public relations reps. We have reps who specialize in, creating content specifically for our speaking events and all those types of things. So if you have a specific specialization and we feel like we need that on our team, we're going to hire you. We do it all ourselves. There's an interviews that you have to go to be on 1824. There's a series of projects that you have to do. We initially have a call. We will receive your resume. We like to trust into our reps. We like to trust in our reps like Kathy to find the next Kathy. So Kathy will send a resume and we'll initially set up a call with that rep. And then we'll get a feel for them. If we like them, we'll pass them on and they'll have another initial call with a more majority of our team. And then finally, we'll say, hey, we like you. We'll send you a marketing project. And the marketing project is just to see, kind of what your resources is, how you can utilize the resources that you already have within your market and utilize that to one of our artists. Kathy was actually one of the first reps to do a marketing project for us. Kathy, what was that experience like?
So it definitely wasn't as bad as I think in the moment when you're kind of going through that process. It really wasn't that hard, but it was very open-ended, and I think that's what a little bit of the anxiety stemmed from. It was, the project was given, and it was essentially like kind of, if you do business, kind of like a case study, similar to that, and just being able to find your own twist to it. I know, like, I talked to a couple reps after I hired, and we all did it very differently. But I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is that you get the chance to really show who you are and what you can do in your creativity. There's not a box. And I think that, again, goes back to like our reel at the beginning. And it's just, there is no limit. And it's really just how far can you push yourself. But I think the project for me, it was kind of down, and I was like, I felt like I was not doing enough. And now looking back, I maybe overthought it. But I think that also prepped me a lot for the job, and really gave me a sense of like kind of everything that I can do and can be able to offer the team at one point if I were to get the job. And I think another thing that was really fun about it is just like kind of how you just said, like tapping into those resources, because it's kind of specific to like your market. So like I was the Austin, Texas rep. So doing more research to find out like, okay, maybe I don't know like all the different people in Austin, but taking the time out to like literally stalk Instagram, stalk Facebook, stalk, like find out everything that I can about the businesses and the people in Austin, or even just people that I knew. Like I knew a couple people from school who were kind of like influencers and like, had their own YouTube channel, and being able to like find that, just like whether it was through my friends that I asked or just people that I followed on Twitter from school. And I think this is a really fun way to sit down. And even if like at the time I didn't get the job, I think that showed me a lot of what I could do, and like kind of be able to, for me, it was really nice because I think going to school, I'm a first generation student. So there's a lot of imposter syndrome going around, especially at the time, around that time of hiring for me. So I think that did a lot for my own like self-confidence and just reassure myself of what I could do. But yeah, it's a really interesting hiring process that I think is a really good way to really let like the management team know, like, okay, how much are you willing to put into like this project for the interview process? I think that's going to say a lot about, what you're going to be able to do on the team.
Kathy, it's so funny that you say that, because I believe just yesterday we were all talking, and you said, I never thought about how much that initial project during the hiring process prepared me for the projects that I'm working on now as a marketing rep at 1824. And I think it just all comes full circle, and I think that speaks to our mentorship and how we prepare you as a rep in the beginning, and we set you up, and we, take our time to actually train our reps. We take our time. We provide so many resources. I call Wes our resource dude. If you have any question about anything, Wes is like an encyclopedia. I don't even know if you guys remember encyclopedias. I had a whole stack, and Wes is like my personal encyclopedia. Anything I want to know about 1824 logistics, Wes has got it covered. And, he has set up a very great infrastructure for us to train all of our reps. We utilize the platform Monday.com. But we also have other resources such as Slack. There's a group me chat, and there's just a lot of resources. We take a lot of time one-on-one to train our reps, to pair our newer reps with older reps, to make sure that the older reps are helping not only their transition out as they graduate and begin to be placed within the music industry, but preparing the reps who are new as they transition in and taking in that role, so that, none of the resources that we have are lost. Nothing in our database is lost. None of the public relations connections we have are lost. None of the connections that we have at specific markets, at certain lifestyle and retail accounts, such as like barbershops and sneaker stores and coffee shops, cafes, that type of thing. We make sure we keep all of those relationships across the country. And we also make sure we mentor the reps throughout the process. Kathy can speak to that as well, but I know I've spent time just talking to Kathy. Kathy's come to me like, hey, I'm just stressed out about something. And I'm like, you know what, Kathy, it's okay. Let's figure this out. Let's figure out how to help you get through your situation. We understand our reps have lives, and most of them are students. Most of them have part-time jobs in addition to their position at 1824. Some of them, like Kathy, are first-generation students. Some of them are the first to go to college. We understand all of those things, and I think that also speaks to the diversity on our team. But we have someone on our management team that can kind of help any problem that any of the reps are going through, regardless of what that problem is. And we kind of mentor our reps and train them. We mentor them to be better marketers, better creators, better better publicists, and all of those things. And we just help them, with anything. I know I'm personally here, and I think that speaks to our placement in the end. Once our reps graduate, we love to mentor them up until that point to when they graduate. And even beyond graduation, I still have reps who've graduated 2 or 3 years ago who I'm still in contact with, who I still talk to about job opportunities and just things within the music industry. Or if I'm, pre-pandemic, if I was, in a certain city and I have that network of, 1824 who I can reach out to, hey, let's grab coffee, I'm in LA this weekend, that type of thing. But mentorship is super, super huge on our team. I don't know if you guys want to speak any more about your experience mentoring, but being a mentor for 1824 is literally my favorite thing about this job.
I would say I 100% agree. I would say that multi-level mentorship that Asia was speaking about, that, I get mentored, therefore I am a mentor, and then, Kathy becomes a mentor. I can't tell you how many times, because Kathy's been on our team for a while, we have all asked her, hey, can you help co-lead and help mentor said person on this project? Hey, we have a really great project. We know that you love this artist. We would really love you to help co-lead this. And she then puts on her marketing hat, has to figure out how to tap into everybody else on our team, whether that's a content person, a designer, running out the socials, getting the press together, all the different parts of marketing that are going to help bring a campaign to life. So she has to put on her marketing hat, consult with us on a regular basis to figure out what that looks like. So there's multi-layers of mentorship, and I absolutely love that. It's kind of what gets me the most excited, is just being able to see other people's dreams kind of come to life, and seeing what you guys and young 18 to 24 love to be like, hey, I really just want to try this. All right, let's try it. You have a great idea. I can't tell you how many times somebody came to me and said, hey, I really think that we should host X person and X artist and have an experience. Okay, let's put it together. Let's bring it to life. Let's find the different topic points. Let's find out why it's intriguing. Is there a performance involved? Is there a tour? Asia and I set up an entire cross-country tour a couple of years ago, tapping into all the artists that represent Def Jam. And what does that look like across the country? Why is that important? People want to know and feel and touch all those developing artists. And if you're the person tuning in right now that is always like finding artists super early, you're in the discover page and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I found the best artist. I know them. They have 100,000, they only have 1,000 spins, or they only have 1,000 plays on Spotify. That's the kind of people that we're hiring, the people who really understand, like, what's the next thing? What's the next trend going to be on TikTok? What's the next trend going to be on social? What's the different way that we can connect, whether it's in the gaming space? Twitch wasn't a thing a few years ago when I got on this team. Animal Crossing was still developing. All of these things, we're looking for people who are constantly on the break to find out what is that thing. So if you bring out your idea to us, we can just help guide and mentor how to implement it across our team. I hope that makes sense. But I definitely don't want to miss your question, Shaquille. I know Wes will get into it, but I don't want to miss that.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about growth once you get in the program. I even want to take a step back, things that creatives can do, like everybody here can do before you even apply for a job like this. This is transferable. So I think this generation's more talented and has more access to technology than ever. So even if you're 16, 14, I'm not sure what our ages are here, but you can start a portfolio. You can start doing work. To me, like, if you want to be a music video editor, like, start with your phone and some editing software. So we are open in our interview process, but I would go ahead and start building like a body of work. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you've got to start doing these things and start growing that skill, doing it for the love and figuring out what you want to do. So start building that body of work, even if it's TikTok clips, Instagram clips. We actually hired about 8 part-time employees based on TikTok recruiting. So people would share their video content on TikTok with us, use a hashtag, and we could see what they could do. We actually hired some people who had just turned 18. Like, people, thanks to YouTube and, you know, the power of people wanting to do amazing things, they're more prepared than ever to do things that it may have taken previous generations 10 years to build that kind of skill set. The resources are there. YouTube is there. So that by the time like we get to that, you have that starting portfolio. And then the rest of the time here at 1824, it's building the portfolio, building the skill set. So a lot of times at the start, I'm thinking of content creators, like, you know, people who you saw at that reel who started out with us. They may not have a Billie Eilish or an Olivia Rodrigo shoot to start with. We actually look really closely. Somebody will make just a travel video, like, hey, I went to the beach and I wanted to tell this story with my friends, or hey, there's a graduation story that I'm telling visually. Or if you're on the written side, like publicists, I just want to see writing samples. I want to see how people communicate. So it's starting at that level. And then in a few years, you have the portfolio. It goes from graduation videos, travel videos, some like basic writing things. And then by the end of it, we're developing the portfolios. You have access to the artist. The skill set is growing. We're working with all of those artists. So it's starting at one place and growing the portfolio up.
I'd even say, Wes, that we'll be working with this and they'll say, okay, we really want to go with this vision, or we have an idea for this music video, or we really want to get, you know, these kind of visuals up on Spotify, or these kind of visuals up on social. And we go back to our team to say, hey, a few of you come together, put a treatment together, and then we can pitch. Once we do that, it's within that point like that, you know, once you're already on the team and your portfolio is even more developed, that we can begin to not just shop your treatment around, but also shop your portfolio. So we are we're acting as advocates in that sense of, hey, we really think that this person would be great. They have a great treatment, but here's also everything else that they've done. And so we can begin to build on that. People can really get a great rapport going. I think that's super important for me, because I think you get to see where your creativity lands, you know, and it's not always with an artist maybe that you thought would work. Maybe it's with a rock artist that, you know, had a little bit of a different vision, but really liked your creative access point. And that vision, they were like, actually, that's super unique to us. So let's go with that. Or it might be, you know, somebody from a completely different place than we've ever worked, but they love what, you know, a person in Boston created and a vision that they had. And now we're connecting two different worlds. So to me, that's the meat of it, right? Like, that's the day-to-day of building your portfolio, having those interactions with an artist, sitting down with the director, sitting down with an artist manager. What does this artist want? What do they like? And how can we bring that vision to life? Like, that's the most exciting part for me, I think, is in building that portfolio, is that then you get to take it. Yes, we get to partake in it because we're Universal and you did something in that as part of your part-time job. But then, you know, it's your portfolio that you get to share with the world. So you can have one to build up, to your question, Shaquille, a portfolio, even if it's something that you've done on social or something you've done on TikTok, etc. But then our job is to help build it up into whatever format you want to specialize in. Maybe, like, we have people on the team that said, hey, I didn't come in knowing how to do content, but I've learned all these different softwares. And I would really love to figure out how I can now be on that sub team within our overall 1824 staff. And how do I begin to knock out different animations, different social assets? How can I just get the hang of it? So that's also what I love about our team, out where your strengths are. And it might be something different than what we actually hired you for. But again, we give an opportunity for people to figure out what they're great at.
And I think here at 1824, we actually have a really, really dope way of helping people build their portfolio. And it kind of ties back to our mentorship. Last year, we launched a program called Plug In, and it is our program that we launched as an initiative to support young Black creatives who are looking to break into the music industry. In support of the Congressional Black Caucuses Foundation and their annual legislative conference, last year in September 2020, we did a program and we provided opportunities for Black college age students who aspire to be in the music industry and who aspire to be professionals. So basically, we did a panel in which we just spoke about, very similar to what we're speaking about right now, about 1824, what we are, who we are, how each of us got into the music industry and what our career paths were, how we built our portfolios and things like that. And from that program, we launched an application in which we allowed young Black creatives who maybe didn't have as much in their portfolio as someone like Kathy or another stronger rep on our squad. But we wanted to help mentor them and give them opportunities to have access to the things that so that they can build their portfolio. So for example, we selected a group of 10 young Black creatives who are within the 18 to 24 demographic, and we paired them with a mentor within our Universal Music Group system. So if there were students who were interested in A&R, if there was someone who's interested in marketing, PR, all of the verticals that we have outreach to, we paired them with someone, and they had monthly meetings. And within those meetings, our mentors provided our mentees with resources, with opportunities to meet executives, with opportunities to work on some content, with opportunities to work alongside them. And we also provided programming such as panels so that they could learn about other industry executives and other jobs and just things that they could do in the industry. And it kind of helps build their portfolio and giving them the experience. And through that, we actually look at that mentorship program as a hiring pool and are potentially going to hire some people from our inaugural class of our plug-in mentorship. We will be launching our second class this fall. So stay tuned for any information coming on that. It will be on our Instagram, probably our TikTok and our Twitter as well.
We dropped our socials too. I know there was a question. Thank you, Tom, for how you guys can get in touch with us. We are very excited to expand that, not just plug-in, but expand 1824 as a whole globally. We've been in conversations with a number of countries across the globe of what this looks like in a particular country and on a particular continent, understanding that the US university system operates a little differently. But creators just create. And so we're more interested in the demographic, and we're more interested in figuring out, what are you great at? We had a person come over from France that was really amazing director and videographer, figured out a way to connect with him. And now, he's gone on to do such amazing things from our team. So I think that it's just all about starting that creativity and finding out, how do you eventually want to make money and contribute to this economy in a creative fashion? Right? We're looking for the people who want to be tech developers. We're looking for the people who want to figure out and tell us about the new tech. There's so much new technology out there. I just got put on to how many new apps yesterday? 2, 3, 4, at least 2. How do we tap into that? I think a great example of that is, if you guys are familiar, especially as I was speaking about early on with mental health, how important it is for us to connect with our artists and discuss mental health. And thinking about mental health, there are 1,000 different apps that have meditation and, different music playing to go to sleep or throughout the day or to help you focus. What we've done at Universal is teamed up with one of the apps called Calm, if you guys are familiar with Calm, and provide different artist kind of remixes that you might hear, a Post Malone remix to help you go to sleep, or a Post Malone remix to help you, focus in the middle of the day. And then our job at 1824 is to figure out how we can get that out to everybody else. Maybe you don't know what calm is. Maybe you're not familiar with mental health. How can we, as marketers, tap into the different things we're doing, like today's event, and tell you more about the different ways to connect with those artists? Like that's the kind of tangible stuff. So if you have an idea like, hey, I think we should team up with this artist, or this artist is speaking about, these topics a lot, we need to know about that so we can find those places. So people like Kathy who are out there thinking, what is that next thing, or what's a different way we can connect? That all comes back to what Asia was saying, like stimulating that creative economy, stimulating individuals and mentoring them to feel confident in bringing their ideas to the table. I really want to go back just a quick step, only to talk about the sub teams that we have within 1824. You've heard us toss around words like content and, creator partnerships and press, but we really have some sub teams within 1824, what we like to consider like specialty verticals. And those specialty verticals are a number of things and have even sub teams within them. But the overarching umbrella, we have content, which could be a videographer, animator, editor, colorist, you name it, a director. We're always doing music videos, assets, short form, documentary style content, you name it. When the world was open, and now it's opening again, thankfully, out on tour, you need somebody filming that tour and getting some behind the scenes or some fan, inspiration and feedback on what do you like about this show, etc. We have somebody that can do that in said city. If you are looking for an asset that can be put up on a regular basis, different for each city, we have somebody who could do that. So it's about finding the different talents within that. So content could be so many different things. That leads into social, creating those different assets. A lot of those teams work really closely together. So whether it's, hey, we need a visualizer, a lot of times when you guys might pull up your Spotify, you might see, some cool content or that little video that plays if you on your phone. Those kind of things we're delivering on a regular basis. Hey, we really want it to look like this, or we really feeling like the color could be this, or maybe we could pull it from that video shoot we did. Or we get with our creators, say, hey, we're thinking this, this, and this, and they come back with 3 or 4 visualizers that we can pitch for that artist. So content and social really work well together. Follow our socials too, because you'll really see a lot of our content on there. I think it's super special to see some of the different campaigns that we worked with and some of the artists that we just love. Coming up with social is not just about developing assets, but being a strategist. So being on the social team, you might say, okay, we have X amount of songs coming out on Friday. We have these artists that we want to highlight. How are we doing that? How should it look? Everybody's obsessed with, aesthetic. At least I am. How does it look on our page? What are some of the things that are important to you color-wise? That kind of stuff comes up, and you can be that person on the social team. Maybe you're not the person who's creating all the visuals, but maybe you're the person who can oversee it and help stimulate what the content should be. So then you have different people within the social team. Then we have our creator partnerships team. Some people like to refer to them as influencers. Influencers, as we know, can be, some of the most well-paid people in the world. Talk about, stimulating the creative economy. And we like to team up with the people who are just getting started. Maybe you only have 50,000 followers. Maybe you have 100,000 followers. Maybe you only have 200,000 followers. We just care about the content. We just care about the engagement. We just care about the cool things that you're doing to connect to your fans. One of my favorite things is like Asia was talking about earlier with makeup. One of my favorite guys that we team up with on a regular basis is a dude that just loves to roller skate. He's just in LA, roller skating to any song you can think of. So we'll pitch a song to him and say, hey, what do you think about this song? He's like, I already got moves for it. Boom, it goes up on social, and we just found another connection point. And it's really about how he engages with his fans from that point on. And that artist's song just being in the background and being used as a stimulator. So really love those kind of points when it comes to social. Then we also have press, as it pertains to creator partnerships. And we're tapping into those influencers on a regular basis. And then we have press, which we mentioned earlier, and Wes oversees our press squad, which is incredible. As a journalist himself, he's always looking for those writing samples, always looking for a way that we can better connect and have creative writing pieces. But our press squad works with the publicists at each individual record label under Universal, thinking about what is that upcoming project release? What is that album that's coming up? What is that song? What is that video? How can we get some write-ups about it? How can we just host a conference just like this in the virtual space, have an artist, let's say Wes is our artist, Asia, Kathy, and I are all publicists, and we really want to just ask questions and be able to get a write-up going, put it out in a couple days, and now we have an entire a press run and a campaign for that artist that goes live. And we're doing that 2 or 3 times a week. We actually have one later today. So we're really excited about the development of our press squad as well. And that all leads to our marketing staff, which is the additional sub team. And marketers, as marketers, we are constantly working with every single vertical. So as I was mentioning earlier, Kathy put on her marketing hat and said, okay, I'm leading this squad for this artist. I have to get content going. I have to figure out what is the social aspect. How do we get press involved? Are there creators that we need to tap into? And what is our campaign? Is it something we're doing in real life? Is it an event? Is it an experience? Is it something that we want to have a show for? Who do we team up with on the brand side and our brand partnerships angle? Maybe Red Bull wants to bring on and put on a whole concert. Maybe Amazon wants to come together and say, hey, we have this huge concert that we want to put on for all of this 18 to 24 demo in these 10 different cities. Okay, come to us and we can help bring it to life. And then we go back to the drawing board like, okay, who do we need to pull in for these different sub teams? And then even within those sub teams, as I was mentioning earlier, we have other things. Like a couple years ago, somebody was like, hey, we're missing out on this whole sports angle. People who play basketball and football, or and soccer. We don't discriminate. And even lacrosse. I was like, we're working with lacrosse teams to figure out what are these games? How can we tap into and display our content? If you guys are familiar with the rapper Big Sean wanted to figure out how is that song, his latest song, played in stadiums and in arenas across the country. Teamed up with different arenas, reached out to different schools, different big games that were happening. And now that music video and those welcome videos. What's up? This is Big Sean. I'm so excited for you guys to play today. Good luck. Now we've figured out not only a way to shoot the content, edit the content, but now have it displayed and marketed in a way that's going to connect directly to that demo. I hope that kind of brings all of that together a little bit, but that's just one sub team within that. And then we kind of utilize different brands to maybe tie a ribbon around that. So there's a ton of different verticals that we get really excited about, and we're bringing on new ones every day. Mm-hmm. We're specializing in gaming, but that one's going to become an even bigger vertical. Don't you agree, Wes?
Oh, totally. I mean, we've talked a lot today about what we do internally to contribute to the growth of the creative economy, but we're really looking externally too. So Rebecca mentioned 2 things. We work with creators and influencers from around the world. It's really a global network that we work with creators. It's the same thing with our media outlets. I mean, we spoke with someone from Singapore this week who's a massive fan of country music. So he's really interested in spreading country music around the globe. We've worked with Mae Muller, based in the UK. We've worked with Nasty C out of South Africa, Tame Impala out of Australia. And really, these media outlets, they can join from anywhere. If you're like a writer, if you're a storyteller, you can join virtual press conferences with us. So I actually have a quick virtual press conference video So that's one way that we actually outside of 1824 and Universal Music Group. And we help these people develop as well. Like when it comes to those writers, they may have just started a blog, a zine, a cool Instagram account. And I want to help them develop. So we've done interview workshops, like how these people can conduct interviews with artists better. We've done freelancing workshops to help figure out how do you do that career in music media. And it's really just building, knowledge, experience, and growth in the global economy from these people who are writing from anywhere, because that's the beautiful thing. Like you can start an Instagram account, a blog, or a zine from anywhere. And we're giving people from all over the globe the opportunity to speak to artists like Katy Perry, like John Batiste, like Youngblood, and so many more. So that's kind of what we're doing. I'd love to bring in some of our guests, and my cat is a guest always. But I'm going to bring in a couple of our people who are waiting.
Yeah, so if your video's in the queue, you're going to be brought in now. I wanted to say that was such a great presentation, and I learned so much about your guys' team. You have a few questions about copyright. Are any of you able to speak on that?
Like Rebecca said, it is unique to each country.
Mhm.
So it varies so
It
much.
does.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions was, does uploading your song to YouTube work as a copyright? I don't know if that's true in every territory, only because YouTube has different laws with different governments. So I'm not sure if it actually is a sweeping copyright. And if it does get pulled down, then you're dealing with it's on a territorial basis. So I think that in some ways it can work, or at least be a starting point. But if there is any kind of infringement, it's definitely going to get taken down. And if that's not cleared by your local government or the local country on YouTube based on their rights, that could be different. So it's definitely something to Google, how and what that looks like in each territory, because you don't want something to go up in one place and then it not be available in another. I hope that
Thank
makes
you so
sense.
much.
Please feel
Yeah,
free to jump
it
in.
does. So I think the general advice is like, you're going to have to research depending on the location that you're in. We learned so much about you, all of you today, and your work, and such a creative field. And that's what this is about, So I feel really inspired. I have a personal connection to music. I'm sure many people do. I used to actually work at a nightclub before the pandemic shut down as my side hustle. And when you play that Animal Crossing DJ video, I was like, yes, I miss music and live events. We only have a few more minutes left, so if you guys want to go into your closing, now's a great time.
Yeah, I think I have the final thought to sum it all up. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, we are thinking globally, but we're also acting locally because that's what's around us. We're affecting our local communities. Like there are parts of 1824 that can apply to other areas of the world, and other things are going to be different depending on where you live. And that's like a really thing, actually. So like, what I want everybody to walk away with is like, it's all about the spirit of empowering young creatives to lead. Like, let's turn passion and creativity into a career. Like, that's what we're doing here. We're developing people. We're mentoring people. Like, let's share songs and stories everywhere. Like, because songs and stories, that's what's inspiring us. That's what's healing us this past year through the pandemic. Like, I want to wake up every day and lift up artists and their voices. And everybody here, like, we want those artists to speak authentically to their fans. To me, that applies to anywhere, no matter where you are. So like, my thought is like, we all have a unique story and we all have shared experiences too. Like, that's why music is totally universal. And at the end of the day, I think that's why everybody here, and that's why what we do, like, that's why 1824 does what it does.
That is incredible. You all are doing amazing work. Wes, Asia, Rebecca, Kathy, thank you so much for volunteering your time And for some of you getting up in the early hours of the morning to do this, we definitely appreciate it. And you have such a huge, thankful audience right now. This concludes the end of this session. We are going to go ahead and move back to the main plenary stage where we're going to be doing our closing. Please head up 1824 on their social media, Instagram. Are you guys on TikTok?
Yes.
Yes, TikTok. So hit them up. That is the best way to, yes, thanks for dropping that again, to get in contact with them.
Yeah.
And once again, just a big thank you to this team right here. And thank you for teaching us something new and sharing a little bit about your world and hopefully inspiring other people to come join it.
Please, please, from all over the globe. We're expanding, so you could be a part of that. From Japan to Malaysia, we had so many people from Europe earlier. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Shaquille. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, everyone. Okay, that concludes our session. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Hopefully we'll see you back in the plenary stage. Until
Awesome.
then, we'll see 1824 on their Instagram or TikTok.